Boss says something.
Ready.
Call the order of the Marion County Commission meeting for January 22nd, 21st. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If there's any public forum, anybody like to speak online, or we have one person in the crowd.
Yes. Okay, as probably most of you, what?
Name? Who's for you?
I've seen you before have people come up and
It's for
never
anybody.
say anything.
It's for anybody.
I am Arlene Sticka. I think you all well know that. I know you know me and I know you.
It's for public record.
Okay, fine. As you probably all know, I have been camping out at the county lake. And more recently, I have noticed that there are individuals that come in after dark. They take showers and that. To me, they look like they're homeless because when you see a junky looking car with the back seats piled up with junk and now there's like it's not an SUV on that order. And it's got the back end piled up with junk, and they always wait till after dark to come in. Since I am a paying camper out there, I have access to the bathroom too. And since I don't know who these people are, and I have talked to Isaac about it, he doesn't know who they are either. Sunday evening, I called 911, told them what the situation was. Police officers or sheriff's officers came out, but they were 10 minutes late in coming out because by then this couple had left. But they were out there for over an hour that I know of. I don't know exactly when they came in. But I am concerned about this because since I am the only one camping out there right now, and I am a woman, I am concerned about who is coming out there after dark. They don't come out during the day. If they need to come out during the day, take a shower, they could very easily talk to Isaac and say, is it okay if we take a shower? But they're not doing that. They appear to me that they are homeless. I have dealt with the homeless population in Wichita, and I know how they operate. And is that what you want in this county? Something to think about. And why aren't there security cameras out there? Now, I don't know if I'm going to be here this year, because right now what I see going on in this county, I am sick and tired of this crap. And I think you need to put your thinking caps on and start thinking about how can we make life better here. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment? Nobody online? I guess we'll get into administrative business.
Okay.
Through the agenda.
Any additions or correction to the agenda?
Yes, sir. Under mine, we'll just need one executive session to update you on potential litigation.
10 minutes, 15?
Yeah, I think, but let's go 15. We usually get cut short.
Okay, if that's all, kind of either approval of the minutes of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 George got loud there.
You ready for administrative?
Yes.
We'll just go the way the packet is. First, you have the summary of the outside boards. This information for you all. And then there's a chart of the boards and who is on each board and their meeting cycles and locations. We will have to decide somebody for the 8th District Community Corrections Board and the North Central Kansas Regional Juvenile Detention Board. When talking to Sean, who is the Executive Director for the North Central Kansas Regional Juvenile Detention Board, they said that they would like Dave Mueller on there, and Dave said if nobody else is interested, then he would be interested on it. But it's all up to you guys.
So we can appoint a non-commissioner.
Yes. So you guys can review these and make a decision today, or we can do it next week.
I thought I was gonna do it next week
That's fine.
after Jonah's here.
Okay. Was there any questions on any of that? Okay. That was real quick. Next we have some change orders.
That's on the top page here.
Yes.
We got one area here. Last year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the only one who needs to sign this.
Yes, everybody needs to sign.
Everybody look at it. down to my hole.
Sounds good. Okay, the next, January 13th minutes.
Is there any corrections, or additions to it?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, okay. Motion approved. All's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
This one for Joe, since he's the one who was here for that one.
It's on Joe's place.
Okay. Next, we have a resolution establishing the mileage rate for county business conducted in personal vehicles. It was in your packet. And then the information from the IRS, which they are stating that they went from 67 cents to 70 cents.
Any discussion on that?
In the past, we followed the IRS rate, but, you know, that's subject to change.
I move that we stay with the IRS rate.
70 cents?
Yes.
Is that, also, are you also including in your motion to adopt the resolution 2025-02?
So moved.
You second that?
Second.
Or second?
Or,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? 5-0.
Next, we have early checks in the amount of $17,320.45.
Have any questions on that? I'll make the motion to approve the early checks for $17,320.45.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? 5-0.
Was the same as this actual budget.
All right, next we have in your packet, there was information about budget allocation requests for 2025. So these are the entities that came during budget time to request some funding. So you can see in 2025 what they requested, in 2024 the funding they received, and then what was budgeted for 2025. Wait, go ahead.
And just as a point of clarification, the amount that you approve may or may not be what's budgeted. So if you decide that you want to do something different.
Any discussion on this? Questions?
We'll need approval
The-
so we know what you guys are wanting to give them.
See if there's any discussion or questions for the new members maybe. It's kind of been staying about the same every year for several years.
What is the Marion County Core Community?
They are a group that works with people to, to try to get established in the community, jobs-wise, and working with budgets, and it's to alleviate poverty. They've been in, how long have they been?
A couple years as core. It was previously the group that was called Circles
Okay.
in Marion County.
But as a group, they've been around for a number of years.
I'm familiar with Circles. The name drew me. I didn't.
Yeah, so this group has taken over what Circles was doing, and so.
Now I'd make a motion to approve the proposed budget for 2025 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Against? 5-0.
Thank you. And then I have one more thing. Every beginning of every year, you guys need to make a motion and a vote to deposit funds in all Marion County banks authorized by law.
I would make that motion.
Okay.
Deposit funds in Marion County banks.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? 5-0.
Okay. And that is all I have.
Okay. I apologize I wasn't in here when you all approved the agenda. I was making some copies. But I just want to let you know the fire chiefs are not going to be here today with that burning resolution. They want to move toward further toward the end of the month. And so they will not be coming today. And hopefully we'll have the resolution so that we can get it to you ahead of the meeting before we would approve it. So they ended up having some scheduling conflicts today.
Frozen pipes.
So I have a few items on administrative. My report was in the packet. In the packet, you have the treasurer's reports from Tina Graining. And then, of course, Ashley already mentioned the memo with the different boards, and she did a great job putting all that together for you. Let's see. Wanted to mention the new ambulance. So we are in quality control right now, and it is time for us to be able to go and inspect that. And part of our contract, it includes a plane ticket for us to go and inspect it. So the director would go, and then It looks like they would be sometime between next Monday and Wednesday. If there's a commissioner that wants to be designated to go and fly to inspect the new
So
ambulance.
where they going?
It's in North Carolina, I believe.
Okay, well,
Yeah. So does anybody want to go on that inspection?
Should we keep that within the department or emergency manager or someone like that?
Well, I know Chuck is planning to go. But I think we have 2 or 3 tickets, so there would be somebody else going with him from the department.
The company provide that?
Yes. And so it's just a matter of if there is a commissioner that wants to go, then we would like to offer that to one of the commissioners. And
What
if
days
not,
are-
that's okay too.
What days were it again?
Well, it's not set yet, so it would be, looks like Monday through Wednesday is what they're looking at.
27 to the 29th.
Right. So I guess if anybody wants to go, please contact me after the meeting unless you know right now.
How much did we spend on that ambulance?
300 and
We need to make sure
12,000.
that we have more than one set of eyes looking at it.
Right,
So
right.
somebody else needs to go.
I just asked who's available in the commission.
Not that I want to, but I've inspected lots of vehicles for acceptance for the federal government. I would go to it because just to protect ourselves as a county, we need more than one set of eyes looking at this ambulance before we accept it.
Okay.
Make a motion that clerks be the county commissioner's representative.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
All opposed?
Did everyone vote? Okay.
So
Yep.
you abstained,
No, well,
or you voted
He
yes?
doesn't need to abstain on.
I
Okay.
5-0.
volunteered to do it, so.
Okay.
Appreciate that. I mean,
We'll get more details to you when they are known.
Yeah, thanks, Clark.
Yeah.
I'm already in Nashville this week, so I didn't feel like I wanted to be gone again.
Okay, let's see. Did anyone have questions about anything in the administrative report?
I guess all of the warranties and all of that will be as presented when we bought that thing, that ambulance back in 20.
We signed an agreement, so I'll have to go back and find that agreement. It was in 2021, I think.
2021.
I think they began an in-service date, if I
We
remember.
get a 2021 vehicle in 2025.
Yeah, I could be wrong. It might have been in 22, but I think it was in 21.
Any way you look at it, we
Right.
gotta, even though it's new, we gotta,
I'm not sure what we're getting.
We'll verify that the
3-year-old
warranty
vehicle.
includes begins at the date
In-service
it's
date,
placed
yeah.
in service, so.
And do we have to take delivery there and drive it back, or? do it?
Yes, I believe we're gonna be getting it and bringing it back, so.
So it's a one-way plane ticket?
Well, this is just, oh gosh. Well, I think that for the inspection, it is a
Round trip?
round trip.
Okay.
I'll
Details.
verify all those details.
We have to take a sleeping bag.
Funny. Does everybody have a mummy bag? This is like,
you all get to ride back in an ambulance.
okay, let's see. We have a Safe Kids mini grant, which was the board approved applying for. We have now been approved for it. The amount is $3,300, and so we just need a motion and a vote to accept the funds, the grant funds that we applied for.
Motion to
So moved.
accept the grant funds.
Second.
Give a second. Can't move. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, quick question. Well, I don't know if it'll be quick or not, but we do have quite a few people that worked over when we were doing snow removal. I think recently, last year when we had the overtime for that, the board decided to pay out the overtime. Typically, all the workers they would earn comp time. So they're paid the same amount every month, and then any hours in a week over 40 that are worked, they earn comp time. And so I just wanted to see if there's any preference of the board about how to handle that for this year. I do know that some people prefer the comp time and others prefer the paid overtime. So, and just one other point, we had talked last year about trying to transition away from comp time into a hourly pay with overtime for all departments, which we haven't really researched or gone into that yet, but there was support at that time for looking into that. So I don't know if that makes a difference on what you feel about this. So
I think we do. I think we need to continue to study that. We did set precedents last year by paying that overtime.
right.
There's a lot of people that put in a lot of hours. I know that.
Right.
And myself, I'm in favor of overtime. We keep running into these issues with people not being able to use their comp time, and we need them, and it's just an ongoing issue.
This last summer, we had a lot of people use their comp time all at the same time, so we weren't able to send out a full crew.
And that happens pretty much every year, and I think a lot of it is because people in the department also farm, and so they appreciate having the comp time. It's kind of a benefit to them to have employment, so.
I think we're getting fewer farmers, probably, younger people.
How much time are we talking?
I haven't seen the timesheets yet.
I would think we would want to, the ones that wanna keep up to 36 hours maybe, and then pay anything past that, which would be 3 days worth off, I guess, on a regular basis.
We need to either or.
Well, I mean,
It makes sense.
I think that people would appreciate the choice if you decide that you're gonna pay any of it.
I think that would.
But I
Allow
understand,
the comp time to a limited time to where they're not off for 3 weeks or something.
right,
I think it'd be good to offer it either way. But I'm-
with the limit that
Yeah.
Mike designated of the,
Whether we set 3 or 4 days total time for an 8-hour day, to where they're just not gone for 2 weeks straight or something over comp time. Pay the rest in overtime.
we can also do it retroactively if you choose to do that. So we could just process it as regular comp time on this pay period, see where the time kind of shakes out, and then I can provide you the actual numbers, and then you can decide if you want to convert any of those hours to paid overtime on the
We're gonna
next.
get a perception of the employees by then too.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
John, get a perception of what the employees would prefer.
Well, I already know that they want a choice. If you do something, they want a choice.
So if you wanna make your motion,
And that culture's changed some over the years, when road and bridge used to be mostly farmers. There's still some, but not to that extent.
I think if we want to keep any of the younger talent, we're going to have to do the overtime. They're not farmers, and a few of them are really good operators, and so the comp time doesn't really fit them.
So it would be, do you want to decide on this issue today and go ahead and have it effective for this pay period so that it's on the wages that pertain to the snow removal? Or do you want to do it retroactively
No, I'd like to give them the option
for this current pay period?
for this current pay period.
And would you like to do what Mike suggested of limiting, if those that choose comp time, it would be limited to the 36 hours
32 or
or
40.
not?
If they stay on comp time, it benefits us budget wise. So I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else have comments about
I'd
that?
like to give them the choice.
So one or the other, but not like a combination of, with a limit?
Yeah.
Make that motion.
What, before we do that, what controls are our department heads? I mean, I realize that during the during an emergency, you got exigent circumstances
Right.
and you can't really control that.
Right.
I guess my concern is I don't want, under normal circumstances, letting employees work extra just because they want to
Right.
get the overtime. So what controls are we placing on?
So that is just, that's in our policy, that it's, and the supervisors are watch that on a regular basis when they're doing the timesheet approvals and everything. And then you all also get a report every month on payday that shows the number of comp time hours for each person and the reason. And the supervisors have to sign off on that.
I just want to make sure we had some control over that.
Yep.
I don't want it to get
Out of hand,
out of hand.
right?
I believe it's in the employee handbook, isn't it?
Yes, and then there's also a limit, a statutory limit on the number of hours that are allowed to accrue on comp time before you have to start paying cash overtime.
Yep.
I believe it's 160 hours or something, 100 and.
That was 260.
260, okay.
And we have, we're down a few people in the road and bridge. So I really don't see this blowing the budget. So
Right,
You also have election people too that get overtime when they have elections, because
well, they don't right now, they
They don't.
never.
you got enough people, you don't have to now.
Well,
Well,
no,
we get it during the busy season of
Yeah.
election, but
Yeah.
right
Right,
now
so-
it's not busy.
but what I'm saying is they earn comp time, we have never paid them overtime.
Okay.
That was one of the things that I mentioned, that when we were talking about, at certain times, people work over substantially sometimes because they have to, and then it's like, depending on how you look at it, whether it's a benefit for them to take the time off, or like Jonah said, some of the younger generations, they really, it doesn't feel like they're being rewarded for the extra time they put in.
Plus, we also set precedent by paying overtime last year in a blizzard.
Yeah, we did.
So
did Dave, did you make a motion?
Yes, I did.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 5-0.
Thank you.
And the motion was to give them an option, right?
Give an option, yes.
And just to be clear, that would be only people that worked on the snow removal itself. If they had overtime for any other reason within the pay period, it doesn't qualify.
emergency overtime.
Right. Okay.
Was there a state of emergency declared by Kansas?
Yes, there was.
Okay, so we want to track that too. In case
Can you
there's any
clarify your
reimbursement.
question? Sorry.
Oh, we need to track it in case there's any reimbursements by the state for the emergency.
Right.
Okay.
We have all those records if we decide that we need to try to seek any kind of funding. However, for snow removal only, there is not federal funding that reimburses removal of snow. Okay. At some point, I am gonna need an executive session to discuss hiring. And then the other item, which is in the packet, is information about the elected official's salary. And I know that we put an agenda item on today at Clark's request about potentially reducing the salaries of the county commission. We also need to determine what you want to do with the part-time county attorney. So, I mean, they won't be here all the time, so it's whether you want to pay the full salary as on the pay scale, or if you want to do some other amount. So, they will be doing, the full Marion County caseload. It's just the number of days a week that they'll be in the office will be less. In the packet, I gave you the current wage of the commission, which for 1 year is $18,096. We did budget it in with a 2% increase. So then the lines beneath that are basically what it would be with a 20% reduction. So it'd basically be like a buy four, get one free deal. Yeah, I mean.
And well, you guys knew that 2 years ago, we kind of compared the commissioners around the state. And we were right in the middle.
Actually, I felt like you were lower, on the low end when we looked at that. There's been multiple years where the commission hasn't taken any increases too, so.
It's been a decade. There has never been an increase since I've been. The last was 2015, I believe, 2014 or 2.
I did not go back and look at that specific information. I just wanted to give you the numbers of what it looks like per person with the 20% reduction.
Well, I'll make a couple of comments, and I appreciate where Clark's coming from. I think it's always good to look for efficiencies wherever we can. This is now the third set of commissioners I've worked with, and I think, truthfully, I can say I have not worked with a commissioner that didn't feel like that we needed to try to save taxpayers' money in whatever way we can, and then use those funds in the most efficient way that we can. And I can't say 100% of the money we spent, in my view, was efficient, but a majority of it was. One thing that does concern me a little bit is, we're going to be looking for a new generation of people that are interested in local politics, local government. And in order to do that, it takes quite a bit of time away from their job, their family, and how do we get people interested in that when they might be losing some of their income? There's not too many employers out there that are willing to go ahead and pay you full salary if you're gonna take X number of hours a week off, or have to take some days off for conventions, outside committees. We don't get paid for any mileage inside Marion County. And I know some of you don't have to drive as much as I do, but I put an average of 400 or 500 miles a month on my vehicles. We don't have county vehicles we drive. And, I will vote whatever the consensus of this board is. Just, I think there's a few points like that need to be considered. I think if you look at how we've handled the budgets, we're rate neutral going into 2025. And I think our administrator can vouch for us. We wanted to do that to save the taxpayers any more increases. But yet, our department heads are gonna be working on a string this year. And I think we all know what inflation has done to the cost of any goods and services. I think when I started here, a new dump truck was in the $120,000 range. Now they're in the $180,000 range. All of equipment pretty much has a 50% appreciation on it since I started in 2016. And so, you know, we have to do more with less because, you know, the residents of this county there's a certain amount of services that we have to provide. Agriculture is still the #1 industry in this county. We have to keep the roads open. We have to try to improve a certain amount of miles every year, you know, and I think, you know, we've been astute in some of the bonding we've done to try to get some of our roads in good shape. It's always gonna be a process with the many miles as we have in this county. But I don't think our taxpayers are gonna wanna hear us say, well, we're gonna have to provide less services, because there's always gonna be a big need. And so I'm not saying we're overpaid, underpaid. We did do the survey a couple of years ago and compared to some counties, but said, you know, there are some counties that still have 3 commissioners. I agree with that. And I think one of the best things that's happened is when we went to 5, so we could have more input. You know, we have a lot more diverse ideas and expertise. And you two guys bring a lot of expertise to the board in a lot of different areas, so I can appreciate that. So anyway, like I said, I won't stand in the way of what the consensus is. I just think that the public kind of needs to know, you know, what we're facing. And I would not want someone to lose interest in local government just because I'm gonna lose X number of dollars by taking off from my job and not being at least able to replace some of that. So.
Also, you spend more than today. You'll find out that you'll be going out looking at roads and things at different times during the week and weekends, and you spend a lot of time.
I've already spent time talking with individuals in not only my district, but in other districts. I mean, I just spent 2.5 days in Topeka with 100 new commissioners across the state. And from the youngest lady was probably in her mid-20s, up to people probably in their 70s. None of them said that they got in to the county commission because of the pay.
Oh, no.
They all are doing it. I did it because I want to make a difference for the county. This proposal is just to show the citizens of Marion County that we're serious about reducing spending to the best of our ability. I realize that, I mean, I've lived with inflation. I'm retired, I'm living on Social Security and a pension, and that hasn't gone up, but everything else has. Like I say, I didn't get into this position to make money. And personally, the compensation there, the 14,776 with the 2% COLA is adequate for me. That's just where I stand. So again, I'll go with the consensus of the board. I'm not gonna but I just wanted to, you know, make a commitment to the people of Marion County that I didn't get into this to make money. I got into this to serve Marion County.
In the last several years, we have not taken a pay raise. Correct employees, am I correct? It's been the
Yes,
same.
I believe so.
I've been, 5 years, it's been the same.
County commissioner salaries?
Yeah.
10 years.
I've only been here 5.
Yeah, well, but it's been a decade since,
Okay.
it was raised before it was either a year or two before I started.
Yeah, I'd be more in favor of leaving as is.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, if you just wanna look at statistics, nationwide, on average for small businesses in the United States, over the last 10 years, it has been a average of a 3% increase. Well, if you just look at a 2% increase, that's 20%. But I don't think anybody that's sat on this board has ever even mentioned an increase.
Okay, we will need to set this today so that we can process
Okay.
payroll. So we need to set this for all the elected officials today. So,
I'd like to make a motion to leave it at 18,096 at the current wage.
Can we have some more discussion on the attorney position?
Need more information on that.
I mean, I heard comments with our previous county attorney that they didn't have time to do everything that was on the docket. Now we've got a part-time position. I mean, how can we justify paying a full-time salary to a part-time? I mean,
what I will tell you is that there is no time requirement for any elected official.
Okay.
As long as they get the job done, they can work whatever hours they want. So there is not a minimum or a maximum, a number of hours that an elected person needs to work. So that applies to all the elected department heads. You know, generally speaking, it does take more than 40 hours a week to do all these jobs. I can't speak to the amount of time that the actual attorney has to spend on the work, but I would assume that even though they're only present in the office for 2 to 3 days a week, that they would be fulfilling whatever the role is. I did talk to Michelle, and she, you know, she is fine with whatever the board sets because you all set the salary. But also she didn't seem concerned about the docket. Of course, she hasn't been here to yet very much to get into the flow of everything to see just how much it entails. But she feels like with the full staff of 3 assistants plus herself, that she feels confident that they can handle the caseload.
I know she had made a comment in the paper a couple months ago about using a portion of her salary set aside to, what was it? Do a scholarship or some kind of,
Yeah, I think there was mention of something like that.
Recruitment, I think.
So my thinking would be that you wouldn't necessarily want to go below what you were paying the previous attorney, but maybe not go all the way up to the 96 that is budgeted, because that, I think we were paying 70. I have that here.
72,966.
Yeah, we were paying 75,920 was what was in the resolution for 2024 for the county attorney. And so, you know, the person, you know, the new county attorney may need extra office staff or another attorney to be able to consult with from time to time, you know, depending on the caseload and how much. So it would, to me, I don't think it's inappropriate to reserve part of the 96,384 salary toward that end.
You know, she won't have the expense of driving down here every day. I mean, I don't know how long she'll come. Say she comes 2 days a week. When she can do some of her work remotely, or, I mean, she's gonna have a lot less expense in just being able to, you know, be on site. So I wouldn't be in favor of going higher than what our present salary list is of the 75.
I just wanna, make sure that we're, and it remains to be seen, but I just wanna make sure that we're being served by the,
Right.
we're getting what we're paying for.
Get
My-
multiple
that's my
cases in.
concern.
Well,
This
once
is,
we get a year's worth of history on how this works, it's gonna be a lot
right,
easier to determine what's appropriate compensation.
and we set this every year.
Yep.
So. Oops.
So what is the average pay of a administrative specialist in that department?
Between, well, they have different levels, so they have, the administrative specialist, and then they have a paralegal. And so their pay is ranging, I think, from somewhere around $18 to $22 an hour, depending on the position. Without looking, Jonah, okay?
Right.
Just
No,
going out.
I was just thinking, she gets in there and then she needs extra staff. And if that's saving from the salary, you could
Right.
you could
You
handle.
could put towards, right, exactly.
But we don't have much history on the county attorney asking for extra staff. As far as pulling in another, attorney, something like that. I mean,
Well, so let me just go back a little bit too, because not with Joel, but with some of our previous county attorneys, we have had to contract with different attorneys for certain cases because there were regularly kind of conflicts of interest. Because our legal community is so small, and when you have somebody that has maybe represented someone or been opposing someone on another matter, it makes it to where they would have a conflict on a case. And so in the past, we were spending a lot more contractually than we did when Joel
that
was.
shouldn't be an issue with Michelle, I wouldn't think.
Well, it very well could be, because she's been a practicing attorney for over 30 years, so, in this area.
Just talking, I didn't talk to her in depth, but
She seemed like she was very comfortable with the caseload, the staffing level they have, and she really didn't have any kind of a, set expectation about salary. I think you all need to be considerate and fair with what the job entails, but also keep in mind that there may need to be, once she's in the position, she may learn that she needs outside help on certain things or
that's why I said
additional
we
staff.
need to get some history.
Yeah, so like I say, 1 year, that's all this resolution covers. If we find out within this year that something needs to be adjusted, then we can have those conversations before you set the resolution for the following year, so.
So we should go with the 75.
Well, the board needs to decide what you wanna go with.
75, 450. 920. 75, 920.
Was the current resolution, I believe.
You're looking for a motion?
Do you want to kind of discuss all of these different positions and set the amounts and then do a motion overall? Or do you want to do a motion for each one and then a separate motion to approve the resolution? You can do it either way.
Go ahead and go over all of them.
And these were all with the 2% added in already.
Yes, the numbers that I gave you are what was budgeted. So the previous salary resolution that was in effect for 2024, I didn't give that to you, I don't think, but I do have it here. Showed the county attorney at $75,920. I did this right? I don't think I updated any of these numbers. Oh, I don't have the clerk right on the memo. 2096. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. The sheriff, 71,802. The clerk was at 72,945 previously because we had 1 month of me at step 7, and then you had the rest of the year with Ashley at step 1. And then treasurer was previously at 59,134 and deeds at 56,347. So, but the 75,920 was the amount of the county attorney's salary that was set by resolution for 2024.
What do you want to do, Chairman? Go through all of them or vote on them?
The biggest thing is the attorney, I guess, and the rest of them are,
Well, do you want to go through all the easy ones first? Or the easier ones?
You know,
So does anybody have, so like for the county clerk, the budgeted amount is $65,724, which includes the election and county clerk. Another one to consider, which is in the memo there, the treasurer, is budgeted at $61,524. However, the duties, the way that they're divided now, those positions, in my opinion, should be equal. So I would say that it would be appropriate if the board so chooses to raise the treasurer to be the same as the clerk. Sheriff is at 74,688. So if anybody has any comments on any of those, we can, or is good with any of those, then we can put them in. Register of Deeds is step 1 because we have a brand new person. So that's the way that is set up.
I would think the treasurer needs to be up because this report right here that we got, she made us $43,000 last month in interest.
Well, it's basically, if you look at the way the duties are divided now.
Yeah.
Also, something to keep in mind, which I mentioned in the memo, is that the current treasurer and clerk have both been in their respective offices for over 10 years. So there is a lot of experience there, and they're both at the beginning of their pay scales, so.
do clerks and treasurers, is that usually salaries that are comparable
Yes.
in county government?
Yes. It was always equal here as well until it was about 13 or 14 years ago that the board gave Carol a bump because she was taking care of board projects and the maintenance of the facilities, things like that were designated for her to take care of. So that's the reason that was not equal at the time.
We will see Tina's vehicle out in the parking lot many days after 5 o'clock by long-term and weekends sometimes. If you drive by here, you'll see the dedication that she's given us. She was taking that over, which has been a pretty monumental task for her.
All right. So I didn't really make it easier. How about Register of Deeds? Is everybody comfortable with the budgeted amount being the amount for the Register of Deeds, 56, 350?
Make a motion to approve the register of deeds.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
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 I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the clerk.
Second.
Second, or Kent second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'd make the motion to raise the treasurer to the same salary as the clerk at 65,724.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're to get back to commissioners and
Attorney,
attorney.
Made the motion before.
and make the motion on the attorney at 75,920.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'd make the motion,
Did everyone vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry,
That's all right, I was looking down.
make the motion on the county commissioners to leave 18,458.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay.
Nay.
3-2.
Okay, so,
That's everybody?
Now, just point of clarification, should the need arise for this new attorney to need an additional assistant, that salary savings should cover that.
Yes.
That would be.
And-
That would be.
Right.
Okay.
it's still in the budget, so
Right.
they have it, flexibility to spend it on another line item.
And I wanna make sure that it goes to the duties of that office.
We have the option to reset this next year at the
Yeah.
same.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll
Okay.
See how this works.
So it'd be okay if I go ahead and fill in these amounts and then have the adoption of the resolution a little bit, or you can adopt the resolution now and just sign it after I fill it in, it's up to you. But I would like to have that official document today.
What's the number?
503.
503?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-03 as presented.
All those in favor?
I'll second.
Okay, second? Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What did you say?
Second.
I second it.
Jonah, what did you say?
He said aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's just sometimes it's a little hard to hear. There is one more item on the administrative, and that, so Sharon Olmsted is online, and Sharon, are you still there to be able to present the planning commission
Yes, ma'am.
minutes? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And Mike is here.
Okay, good deal. So we had a member resign at the end of last year for District 2, and we have received a new application for District 2, and that would be David Mueller. So has anyone had a chance to see his application?
No, I have it right here, we can pass it
Okay.
around.
That the application states what boards he has served on or offices held, and then his desire to be on the Marion County Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. So if there's a nomination, I think this, that would be the next step. Yes?
Since he served prior on the planning and zoning, those years don't count against his service then, right? Eligibility?
I believe that's correct because the bylaws were changed after he was no longer a planning commission member. So now the bylaws state that there's a term limit.
Okay.
And typically the appointing commissioner for whose district it is, it has been the one that makes the motion to approve or to appoint. So if that's your wish.
I visited with David at length this morning. He's out in Denver, so he couldn't be here. Knowing his past involvement on the Planning and Zoning Commission, his commitment to keeping our ag issues safe within our county, I make a motion to appoint David to fill the vacancy in District 2 for the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Pass that back.
Did you second, Jonah?
Yes.
We
Second.
both did. He's just louder than me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? 5-0.
Okay, that's the last thing that I have until I get this resolution typed up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Almost done. Do you want to wait for the executive session on hiring until after Brad's session?
Wait,
Okay,
we're gonna be here either way.
okay. So then maybe Brad, if the board's ready to hear from the attorney.
Okay, yeah. A couple of things that don't require the executive session that we can take care of. Before you are the hard copies of the resolutions that I'd like for us to take action on today, previously emailed. That go ahead and delegate to the last remaining two fire districts in the county the ability to go ahead and deal with, administer, and manage their own budget and do their own accounting. That is under 193601, something you can delegate to them, and the others are currently doing that. At different times, both of these entities have asked for, with number 3 being the most recent request, for the opportunity to do this themselves rather than going through the county. In other counties where I do this work, it kind of is a mixed bag. Some have the districts doing it through the county administrative staff because they just don't want to worry about doing their own accounting. In this one, I believe they would prefer to be able to, their secretary treasurer in each case, I think, would prefer to handle their own funds and deal with this themselves. The taxpayers are protected because also in 3601 they are required, and I put that in here, to have a surety bond in an amount equal to the maximum amount that either like the secretary treasurer or collectively the board would handle during the course of a budget year. This would be effective upon passage and runs January, our fiscal year, which is calendar in this case, January 1 to December 31st. That's in essence what's in here. The one thing that may require us to make a minor change to these is I listed everyone based upon what we have in the clerk's office as to who the current officers, if you will, are for the boards of each of these entities. And then they have, in one case, just a fire chief in number 1. Number 3, they have a fire chief and assistant fire chief. In number 1, they only have 3 officers, chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. In the other, there's a chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and 2 members at large. And I'm sorry, in the first one, 1 member at large. So they're different in that regard. That's something we may want to address. The District 1 was established, and I don't believe there's been anything done since then, by resolution in May of 1963. and District 3 was established in March of 1965. There have been significant changes to the statutory scheme for both of these entities since then, and it probably behooves us to look at all of them collectively throughout the county and update their organizing resolution as to what's been delegated to them, what their general scope of management is, how many people they have on these boards, something you can to some degree control and probably should. They're required in each case to have a surety bond, as I said, that's by an approved surety company in the state of Kansas in that amount. So there's really nothing there that would preclude you from allowing them to go ahead and control their own fate, if you will, in terms of how their budget is administered and how they pay out to personnel and that sort of thing. So I don't have anything indicating from a staff perspective that you shouldn't do this. I think it's appropriate to let them do it as long as the surety bonds are posted, which they'll have to file with the county clerk and show proof that they're in place.
I wouldn't want to get too restrictive on member numbers because it's like any other board. It's hard to keep a full membership. You know, say you have to have, 3 at-large members.
And that's been my experience as well. My thought was we just set a minimum standard, which is, right now it's a little bit troubling that you have a chair, and I'm not criticizing them, but a chair, a vice chair, secretary, treasurer, all voting members, I assume, and 1 member. We don't do even numbers for obvious reasons. 2 to 2s, who's going to break that tie? We don't have anything in the statute that indicates who solves that problem. So either do 3 or do 5. But in any case, we could set the minimum standard, and if they want to do more,
I'd like to keep it as minimum as possible.
and we can do that. That's not necessarily before you today. Just they wanted, and 3 very much wants, they want to be able to, they've already got their accounts set up, they need to pay their bills, so they want to get this
There was
done.
a question on getting their bills paid timely, which is, runs into their volunteer time as well, if that delays anything. Or have to bring it to Tina, I think, to get some paid.
So it doesn't come to me anymore, but it would be, we have had discussions in the past many times about the ability to pay early, not waiting till payday. So we have a method in place to pay their bills until this gets passed. I think that we do need to change the effective dates because we had to go ahead and pay their January bills through the clerk's office because this wasn't ready to go for the first of the year as we had kind of hoped or they were pushing for with their timeline. So I think we changed the effective date of the resolution.
That's no problem.
But then also the fire chief and assistant are not members of the board, so those would.
I just listed everyone that was in our contact list because it says here's the board for each of these, and one had the chief in it, the other had the chief and assistant. So I just put everybody in there in an abundance of caution, but we can easily fix that just to say that these are the ones that are the voting members, and then change that effective date.
And so the bottom line is the fire districts, the boards want to do their own, and we certainly have no issue with giving that up because it's not convenient for the clerk's office either. It's just we knew there was a legal process that had to be followed, and so to make sure that we do it correctly.
If you look at the very last section of this one, I thought I was attempting at least, but I'll certainly do more if we need to address the effective element of this being today, and saying that it will be for the entire fiscal year from January 1st to December 31st of 25.
What I meant was, we aren't gonna be able to do for January.
Oh, I see.
Because we've already we're processing January,
Yeah, so, and we can make sure that fits
yeah,
what's needed.
that's,
Changing a line item shouldn't be that.
And do they do a good job of letting you know when members change, or somebody drops off?
It's a loaded
Nice on an annual basis that the clerk's office would know, okay, who is on their board.
so we do send out
When we send their annual report information,
send out a
ask them
sheet,
to give
yeah.
us who the members are.
If you want to make it a bit more mandatory. I already included in there that at your request, Tina or yourselves, they can show up here as many times a year as you want to report on what their budget is and how they're doing. I'm sure they won't be thrilled if they're summoned in, but you have that ability because you're still the governing entity in each county. It's the county commission that covers these fire districts. They're just running it on a day-to-day basis. So that's one. I could include in that, and also to report on or before specified date, what the membership currently is of their governing board.
We have had a number of them that's been acting on their own for several years.
All
Yes.
of them have, except for
Yeah,
these
for these
two.
two.
Has there been any budget issues?
They do a pretty good job. They do a pretty good job, and they're used to taking
Breach
care
of
of it.
limit.
They are
And if there's
subject,
ever an issue, we chat with them and
Yeah.
so they're pretty good.
they're statutorily required if you delegate service to them to annually comply with audit requirements too. So,
Because we don't want it thrown back in our lap because of mismanagement.
also thus the surety bond. So if we have a mistake, there's at least an ability to cover it.
We don't wanna deter anybody that's volunteering for these
Right.
firefighter positions or board members.
And we do our best to support them. I know Ashley does, and I did before, to help them and get them through the budget process and help them with, make sure that
Any
they're doing their
information they
annual
need,
report.
I think you've been in the past, been the one to go to and have done an excellent job.
So one other thing on District 1, which is Durham Fire, I don't know that they have their account set up or their surety bond or anything
No,
like that yet.
I'm just informing that it is coming.
Yeah, so
I
that,
left a message with Jim Christensen on his cell phone.
do you mean John?
John?
I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, John is true.
The other JC.
That one, yes. I remember Jim.
So anyway, we may have to look at
Just what we
a
comfortably
general
forget.
statement of the effective date,
Yeah, I can do that.
like when it's established and the treasurer is able to do it.
We need a motion to approve both of them.
Pending staff review?
Yes, yeah.
Or staff,
Subject to staff review, that way we can make that change with their comfort.
or would we need to put it on the next meeting so that Ashley has the correct information for the minutes? Like, are we gonna have that done?
Yeah, we
Today.
can, I would just as soon we did it today, certainly for number 3, because I know they've already got theirs set up and want to be done.
What are those resolution numbers?
4 and 5.
Okay,
Mary?
I'd make a motion to approve 4 and 5, pending staff review and text amendments that were discussed today.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0. Okay, and it's been approved.
Let's see, executive, take care of those.
We do have the signature page. For each of them. I just added the county clerk on the bottom.
Okay, thank you. Ooh, yeah,
You gotta watch that.
template's wrong. Okay. Mhm.
Can you stamp it, Ashley?
Yes,
Yes, I will.
it's okay to stamp all of the things that you voted to approve today, Jonah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, here's the salary resolution. While you're signing, you may as well sign that one too. Once we have those wording changes on the fire district resolutions, we'll send that back out too.
Take care. years. Thank you. Executive session 2:30. On the property transaction with regard to the property in Peabody, that was delivered immediately after approval. We had signatures on both 2 Security First. Talked with them about it. We would hope that closing, they wanted to get all the paperwork completed in terms of the title insurance requirements, et cetera. And so they haven't given me a firm date on the closing, but I thought I would call them yet this week and get that firmed up. They've had a week to kind of start on it, so I assume they'll know what we're doing at this point. So that was the other one that was in open session that I needed to report on. The other things will fall into that executive that I requested potential litigation.
Could we go ahead and just do, is there any commission comments? So we can get that before. I don't have any commission comments. I was just checking. Okay. I just didn't want to go into executive and then come back out with commission comments, so.
You want, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Include the commission, Tina and myself.
Maybe the second one.
Yeah, for potential.
Yeah.
Move that we recess in executive session and discuss consultation with an attorney and matter in privilege and under attorney-client privilege,
Potential litigation.
potential litigations with the commissioners, Tina and Brad, for 15 minutes. We'll be back at
2:11.
2:11.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, we're on.
Call the meeting back to order. No action was taken. So I wanted to move the recess into executive session. We want to discuss hiring pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matter. The board, Brad and Tina, for 10 minutes. We'll come back in at 2:24.
And just for clarification, because this was something that kind of irritated me when I was in your seats. By law, we can only have one executive session at a time. We have to come back in after an executive session, state whether action was taken or not. And then to go into it, to discuss another topic, we have to go tell you what that executive session is for. So we can't say we're gonna go into executive session for 30 minutes and we're gonna talk about whatever we want. We have to tell you what we're going in for. We have to come back in, go back out. So I know it's a pain, because I thought it was a pain. But that's what we have to do, just for clarification.
Under the law and statutorily, as well as the AG's opinions and the case law, we have to cite the particular statute and subsection of it, which is the exception to open meetings that allows us to do this. And then in addition to that, have to state generally the purpose, which is why we go through that whole motion process. And I can't have them go in and do, okay, we're gonna talk about personnel and if we feel like it, litigation and maybe something else. Yeah.
So we still don't know what it is.
That's the function.
Things he wants to give, but that's
I'm just glad you learned something at that training. Wasn't that awesome?
Yep.
Well, I told you, it was awesome.
So this one is to discuss what?
Personnel.
Got a motion and a second.
Favor? Aye.
Okay that I said that, Brad?
Yes, it absolutely is. Nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Our executive session, any decisions made? Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Motion to it. Go ahead.
Jonah made a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now, I'll second that. I guess, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
All right, Jonah.